Welcome to the Life Science Success Podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Don. I'm a consultant in life sciences. I help companies manage complexity and increase performance. Today, my guest is Raj Indupuri, and we're going to be talking about eClinical solutions as a part of the podcast. But before we get into that portion of the actual episode, let me just talk a little bit about the organizational maturity assessment that's available on my website. If you'd like to go there and take the organizational maturity assessment, it'll help indicate where your organization may struggle as you go to scale and add more and more people inside of your organization. So with that, let me bring in my guest, Raj Indupuri. Raj is the CEO of eClinical Solutions. He's also a technologist with significant industry experience. He's passionate about fostering innovation to revolutionize the life science industry. So with that, thanks, Raj, for joining me.
Thanks, Don, for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. So can you tell the listeners just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, like you just mentioned, so I've been in this life science industry for almost 25 years, and I feel incredibly lucky and fortunate to be in this space. So after I did my engineering, I had an opportunity to start my career in the space, all around technology and databases. This was in '97, and uh, fortunately I continued in this space, and which I'm really passionate about, which has purpose built in, and over the
Yeah.
years continue to evolve and grow myself. And also now at eClinical, we have a mission to accelerate research, and uh, me and our team are quite excited with the opportunity we have and what we are doing right now.
Yeah. So how big is the team at eClinical?
We're close to 400 of us. We
Wow.
started this in 2012, and 22, which it just ended. That was our 10th year. So it has been an incredible journey. And when we started, uh, again, what we are focused on is all around data and analytics. When we started this in 2012, this is a very nascent space. Uh, but over the past few years, the industry is recognizing the need for something like what we do because of the increased amount of data, uh, digitization of trials, right? How science has been being revolutionized by technology. So there are a lot of tailwinds, and these trends are requiring the need for the industry to modernize data infrastructure analytics, and that's helping us grow. So we are really excited in terms of what's ahead, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it seems to me too, like looking at your career on LinkedIn, it seemed like you started out in a different role and then you sort of climbed this corporate ladder, at eClinical. Always for me, these stories are the most interesting. I mean, being a founder and sort of having a vision to go start a company is sort of one journey that I frequently see. But this one of sort of working your way through an organization is one that's definitely interesting to me as well. So tell me about your journey at eClinical. How did you get started there?
Yeah, no, thank you. So I would say it's a combination of what uh, my growth in this space helped, plus what you just said. So eClinical Solutions was a division of a company called Allyson Group. So we formed this division in 2006,
Okay.
and that's where I started my career within eClinical Solutions, managing technical teams. And over the years at a license group, when we were part of eClinical Solutions, we realized a need by customers, especially biotech and pharma customers. A lot of them in the Cambridge area and the Boston area, they're dealing with this data chaos. Uh, Again, like I made a comment earlier, trials were getting complex, and companies were collecting more and more data, and they had no control of this data. Forget about insight generation. And at that point, we decided to build software again when we were part of a license group. So, long story short, we started building software. A license group, it's a technology staffing company. It's a big company in the Boston area, and now they actually have operations across the country. they decided to divest this business unit, which I was part of. So in 2012, I had an opportunity along with my business partner who actually used to manage sales when we were part of a license. So we both came together. We did a management buyout. So that's how we separated uh, from a license group in 2012. And we were literally 12 of us. And
Wow.
we had an aspiration to build this software company. And like I said, when we started to do this, again, this was a very nascent market, and the product market fit was not there. But we had the strong conviction in terms of how this data problem is only going to increase, and the amount of data and the compute needs by the industry is going to explode. And the good news is what we anticipated has not only happened, but the problem seems to be much bigger and larger uh, 10 years after. So I have an interesting journey. So obviously, I've grown my career being in this space at a company, but also had an opportunity to do a management buyout, again, which I feel really fortunate about, and opportunity to do that buyout and build something on my own, obviously with my partner and the team.
Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it's not a common path, but at the same time, right? A lot of the pharma companies that I work with, or medical device companies that I work with, I mean, they'll license technology from somewhere, and sometimes, of course, the scientists will have been the ones who sort of created the technology or the capability, and yeah, in this case, I mean, you just I haven't heard many stories like this one, so very interesting.
Yeah, you're right. I think again, it's not that common, and again, sometimes you need to have some luck as well. Again, right? Of course, you need to work really hard, and you need to believe in a certain vision and have strong conviction with whatever you do. So you're right. I think I feel really good to be in that situation and an ability to take advantage of it. So yeah, no, you're right. Thank you.
Very good. So tell me a little bit more about eClinical. What is it that they do, and who is it that they serve?
Yeah. So when we started eClinical, this was again in 2012. So we were more of a services company, if you're familiar with the CROs.
Sure.
And the idea was to help customers, especially the smaller and emerging biotech and pharma companies, with clinical trials all around data. So the focus was offering services with data acquisition, data management, statistics, and programming. But we had, like I made a comment earlier, so we had this. Uh, we anticipated that the amount of the trial first to begin with, trials are going to get complex, incredibly complex, right? The amount of data the industry is going to collect as part of these trials is going to increase significantly. uh, there's going to be significant digitization or a push towards patient centricity, and that would lead into uh, companies using other modalities, whether it's devices or apps, to collect data, right?
Right.
And we felt like companies would need infrastructure to bring everything together and transform this raw data into something meaningful. So we started building a platform called Illuminate, and Illuminate is a data cloud which enables you to bring data from any source, any structure, any format. It has automated pipelines and provides capabilities to transform this raw data into something meaningful for uh, better decisions faster. And in the end, we are helping companies, again, biotech and pharma companies, to accelerate research so that we can help them bring therapies and treatments faster to patients.
So whenever you say making decisions faster, helping who make decisions faster?
So, if you think about a biotech or a pharma company, right, as part of their clinical development, you
Hmm.
have data management stakeholders. Uh, they have a need to review data in near real time, to look at quality and clean the data, or even look at signals. And then you have clinical operations. They want to look at how the study or trials are being conducted, look at risks, right? Look at performance, whether it's site level performance, study level performance, portfolio level performance. Then you have medical monitors or clinical scientists. They want to look at safety signals or look at the efficacy of the treatments or therapies as part of the trials, right? You have safety, focusing on safety. So you have different stakeholders within the entire R&D value chain, right? And they want to consume this data for insights in different ways.
Mm.
So our cloud, Illuminate Data Cloud, uh, as integrated with different applications geared towards these different personas I just mentioned, so that they can derive these insights on their own without depending on programmers or other providers. So, one of our biggest strengths or differentiators is an ability to provide these stakeholders to generate insights on their own in a self-service way, right? So that's something we started doing this, that principle, or that's one of our product principles that we had when we started building this software 10 years back. And I believe that's not only helps uh, clients take, or the stakeholders take decisions faster, but also helps them get significant ROI because of the simplicity and their ability to do this on their own, if it makes sense.
Yep. Very good. Yeah, and I feel like there's a lot of people in this space, right? I mean, sort of, focusing in on how do you digitize things and how do you, make it better. Um, are there key factors as you look at eClinical that you think sort of sets eClinical aside from some of the competition in your space?
Absolutely. So we were definitely pioneers, I would say, again, if I'm not trying to be boastful here, 10 years back. And this, as part of life sciences tech, data infrastructure analytics was not even existent. Uh, Companies were using internal build solutions, Excel, a lot of them were using Excel, a lot of them were
Paper
using
binders.
point solutions, they were
Yeah.
using other systems for reporting, right?
Mm.
So to begin with, we wanted to build a platform or capabilities to support a broader value chain within research, right? If you think about clinical trials, the data life cycle, you can actually at a higher level break it down into three components. One is data acquisition, uh, with the ability to collect data, right? Two is the data infrastructure, or the pipelines to bring everything together, so that you have a ability to extract value out of this data. And the third component is more around insights, right? Whether it's using AI or advanced analytics, right? An ability to extract value out of this data,
Yeah.
right? For faster decisions. So one of the biggest differentiators is we have taken an end-to-end approach where companies using our software can again take advantage of the data pipeline capabilities and data insights capabilities, right? And it helps minimize the number of systems needed at biotech and pharma companies, again to bring data together and for insights. uh, and it's all software as a service in the cloud. There's no customizations that's needed, or there's no custom software that's written for each individual clients. And we focus a lot on self-service, like I mentioned earlier, right? It helps not only with ease of use, but also provides increased ROI and reduces the dependence for these end users on technical programmers or developers, right? And also, when it comes to the data cloud, we are kind of source agnostic. So we enable our customers, again biotech and pharma customers, to collect data using different modalities and different systems. It doesn't matter. You could have apps, you could have devices, you could have different EDC systems, you could have different CTMS systems. Irrespective of how you collect the data, right? We have this agnostic way to bring them together in an interoperable way, right? So that has been one of our strengths, so that our cloud fits nicely within an existing ecosystem, helping customers maximize their investment into software. So interoperability, the source agnosticness, self-service capabilities, the end-to-end capabilities together, these differentiate us from the competition.
Very good. Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting to me because I mean, we just did the Life Science Success podcast and Life Science Marketing Radio just did a sort of end of year wrap up of our top 5 episodes, and one of the things that I remember from Chris Connor, who's the host of Life Science Marketing Radio, he had one specific episode where they were talking about meeting the patient where they're at, and so whenever you're talking about this wing to wing approach, and no matter which device that you have or whatever, being able to collect data and other things, to me that's so important as well as you go through this process too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I'm sure like you must be hearing a lot around decentralized trials
Oh,
or
sure.
patient-centric trials, right?
Yep.
So what it does is it actually increases the modalities in terms of how you collect data, right? You have more sources, right? And with that it increases complexity in terms of stakeholders' ability to generate insights from this data, or ability to transform this data for submission for approval, right? So
Right.
there are a lot of different use cases. So having this agnostic approach to and provide capabilities for customers to bring in data irrespective of how you collect, uh, we feel like that's an important tenet, and that's helping us differentiate and helping us actually solve bigger problems for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you look back on 2022 yourself, what were some of the biggest accomplishments, or at least one big accomplishment for eClinical this last year?
Yeah, so I made a comment in terms of how we have evolved as the industry evolved. The last 3 years have been, again, quite exciting in terms of how the industry's intent has changed, right? Again, you talk a lot about COVID, but in general, there's more awareness of clinical trials, right? There's intent and significant uh, pressures to reduce cycle times, digitization, bringing research to patients. So there are a lot of these tailwinds. So because of these, there is more awareness, or the recognition from the industry to invest into modern data infrastructure and analytics, and we've been benefiting from that. So last and we have 3 segments. We have the top 50 biotech and pharma, and then we have the mid market, and we have the emerging bio. So last year has been a really strong year for us, where we were able to acquire several customers in the top 50 segment. So that has been really exciting, and we continue to build a strong pipeline as well. So we are really looking forward to increase that market share, especially with the top 50 segment.
And what are you looking at in terms of the biggest challenges for 2023?
Definitely, again, there's economic uncertainty, and also it was not the best year, and that especially with the biotech market sell off last
Mm,
year, right?
yep.
So stock market sell off. So there are definitely some headwinds, and especially with the emerging and the smaller biotech companies, they are revisiting their pipelines, right? The research pipelines to optimize, and they're trying to ensure that the resources that they have are utilized and maximized, right? With that, that's leading to delays in terms of these smaller companies starting clinical trials or changing strategies. So we think that that's going to have some impact in terms of our growth, and also overall it has an impact on the emerging segment. So those are some headwinds, and on the other side, again, we believe that industry is going to invest more aggressively into technologies or advanced technologies, again to gain a lot of efficiencies, again to achieve better outcomes. Companies are looking for more efficiencies, and they're planning to invest more into advanced technologies and software. With that, we actually have a plan to build more capabilities, bring new products to market, and we have a need for talent, whether it's engineering, product managers, implementation consultants, again, across the board. So we see irrespective of what we see in the headlines, we still think that's it's difficult to acquire strong or good talent, right? And that's going to continue into 2023, especially around engineering, data scientists, and advanced skill sets.
All right. So if you're an engineering or data scientist, where would somebody go to see what opportunities are available at eClinical? You led me to this question.
Oh, absolutely. We love for people to check out our careers website, right? eClinical Solutions, eclinicalsol.com, and you'll see all the openings. We have several openings across the board, especially within R&D, and we love to invite talent. And again, thanks for the plug as well.
Yeah, I mean, I once you sort of open the door, oftentimes whenever I do my initial research, and if I see that people have opportunities, I try and give them an opportunity anyway, because I know the market is a challenge right now, right? For essentially anybody to find
Yeah,
headcount. I'm
yeah,
routinely, myself getting, requests for people, and feel like there's a good opportunity for me to direct, good people and put them together as well. So,
yeah.
yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
very good. So there are three questions that I like to ask every guest. What inspires you?
I That's a great question. So again, I would say the last 2 3 years, how technology is enabling scientific breakthroughs, right? In general, with drug discovery, research, and advancements with cloud computing, right? And advancements with AI and ML, especially. I don't know if you're
Oh yeah,
following Chat GPT
Chat
breakthrough,
GPT.
right?
I was just showing
Yeah,
somebody earlier what it could do. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. These really inspire me personally, where you can see how there's an opportunity to push the boundaries or take advantage of these trends, right? And bring those or apply those into what we do to help our customers. So that something is really uh, inspirational, right? With several breakthroughs across the board, whether it's science or whether it's technologies, right? Around AI, ML, which we just talked about.
yeah.
So
I
there's
mean,
lots happening. There's a
absolutely.
right time. Yeah, it's actually there's a lots happening overall, right? And if you are solving hard problems, I couldn't ask for a better time to do that. And if you're a builder, this is the time to build.
Yeah. Yeah, I would encourage anybody to, I mean, if you get a chance to go out and just Google Chat GPT and look at the OpenAI project. I mean, essentially you go into this tool and say, I want to create something or write write something. You can even put in that you want to write code from that standpoint, which is amazing to me. I
It
mean,
is.
I don't know how, I'm not a coder, so I can't really tell you how good it is or how bad it is, but I can, all I could say is that the stuff that it comes up with on the screen, I'm amazed with on that
No,
end as
it is
well.
really cool. It is really cool. Again, of course, it's going to take few more years, right,
Yeah.
for it to be completely or build on this, and again for massive adoption. But again, just what you could do, right? Just having this conversation and this generative AI, it's just again makes you not only think about the possibilities, but it should be inspirational for people who actually are building software or in product or in general, helping or in general helping solve customer problems, especially with what we do. These are complex problems, so that's definitely inspirational.
Yeah, absolutely. What concerns you?
I alluded this earlier. I think definitely the war for talent. I know it shifted a bit, right?
Yeah.
But still, uh, again, we actually have aspirational objectives to scale up and build more capabilities. So uh, definitely, acquiring talent is going to be a challenge, and there's still economic uncertainty, right? So with what we do, again, we actually are helping the biotech and pharma companies, right? This industry is kind of recession proof, right? So you got to continue to do discovery and research to bring therapies and treatments to patients. That's not going to change. But I think that economic uncertainty, though there are some headwinds, so
Yeah.
it makes you to think in terms of how you need to operate your business efficiently and to minimize this risk. So that's definitely something to watch out.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me because it's funny. I was towards the beginning of last year. I was a little optimistic that we would be in a pretty good spot, coming through the year, given the fact that we had vaccines at that point in time, and then kind of cycling through maybe the half. There was still this concern about capital investments for some of the smaller biotechs and things like that.
Yeah.
Coming into this year, I mean, there's a definite signal that, hey, there's going to be even smaller investments made on some really strategic points. But other than that, there's not going to be a lot, and that will cause some of the early innovations to slow, which then obviously at the end of the day affects big pharma as well. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty just right now in terms of our overall economy in life sciences, and it's just going to have to get sorted out throughout the rest of the year as well.
Yeah, no,
Last question for you. What excites you?
the opportunity ahead. And like I made the comment 10 years back when we started this journey, we anticipated, right, that research is going to change, right? How companies are going to collect more and more data, right? And I made a comment earlier. The problem is not only getting compounded, the amount of data that we are collecting is exploding, and also the expectations from stakeholders and how the analytics landscape within pharma is evolving and changing, right? It's quite exciting in terms of the opportunities ahead for eClinical. Again, at the end of the day, we are working really hard to help our customers, again, the biotech and pharma customers, bring these therapies and treatments faster to patients, right? And also some of these trends in terms of how there is more patient centricity, again, using devices and apps to collect data directly from patients, right? There is significant opportunity to continue to digitize and evolve, right? To optimize research because there are so many inefficiencies. So we feel really good to be in this space, and we want to be leaders within data infrastructure analytics in the life sciences tech space. And just that opportunity to be in this position to help shape this segment of what we do, and with the tailwinds that we have that we talked, it's quite exciting. And we feel like the next 3 to 5 years, in terms of growth, in terms of the opportunity, in terms of what we can solve and how we can help our customers, is going to be bigger, and we have much bolder vision than what we had before. And just the fact to acquire more customers, the opportunity to work with more customers and more stakeholders to solve this research problem for patients is definitely exciting.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it. And Raj Indupuri, I wish you all the best with eClinical and everything that you're doing. We definitely need, solutions like this to bring things to life in life sciences. So thank you so much for being here, and Happy New Year to you.
Same here, Don. Thank you for taking the time, and I love this conversation. Happy New Year and good luck with everything.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for listening to Life Science Success. For complete details about this podcast, including show notes, how to get in touch with guests, and more episodes, please visit www.lifesciencesuccess.com. If there's someone you'd like for us to invite to the show as a guest, please let me know by sending me a message at the podcast website. Please click subscribe on your favorite podcast app, share the podcast, or tell a friend about it. And last but not least, rate the podcast. Thank you again.